There you go.
Buddy?
You got that?
I just wanted to get your T-shirt there.
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you another one. Hold on.
Oh, you got something better?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Thanks for trying. Better luck next time. All right. Duly noted. Duly noted.
There's some good ones up here, too. Why don't you look at those?
Oh, yeah?
Where's my dad?
Did you free copy? Say it again?
You recording the city?
Yeah, just walking through and picking stuff up. What's your motivation for being out here this morning? I mean, excuse me, this afternoon.
How about separation of church and state?
Yeah, I noticed you had that. And within what regard? I'm curious.
Like that idea?
Huh?
Do you like that idea?
It depends on the church.
What do you think about teaching flying red dragons and talking snakes in a real science class?
No, that's obviously I wouldn't be for that. I mean, I'm guessing you knew that.
Well, you know,
No, but I mean, is that a problem in New York? Are they teaching that in any schools in New York?
Well, they might want to, but they're not here. But other places they are, and they're going to the backyard and using what's called comparison education, comparison science, etc., etc. And they're putting putting religion on the same level as science. When science has
In a science class,
falsifiable, testifiable, predictable, it doesn't have to be that way to religion.
Right.
So therefore, how can you put it on the same level?
It certainly doesn't seem to have a place in a science class. I'll grant you that. So is that you?
I have nothing wrong with religion. Teach it in Sunday school, not in a science class.
Agreed. So far, so good.
There you go.
So far, so good.
Hey, why don't you take one of these? I think you'll find it interesting. You may want to attend one of our meetings and see if it has some logic to it, because you seem like an open-minded thinker, free thinker.
Looks can be deceiving, but nonetheless, I appreciate the compliment.
Okay.
All jokes aside, is that the only issue with regards to the separation of church and state? Like, what else?
Well, that's the main issue right now, because that's an encroachment. And I'll tell you one thing you'll find. You'll find a lot of religious leaders, Protestants, Episcopalians and whatnot, who agree with that because they don't want government encroaching in their business. You understand? When it comes to taxes and things like that.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons why they back us in believing in separation of church and state.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, plus it's in the Constitution. Not a separation, but the two clauses that are in the Constitution. Government cannot establish any religion as an official religion, and of course you have the right to worship or not worship whatever you want.
As you please. Right, fair enough. All right.
Okay? And any laws out there has to fit a three-pronged test, called a lemon test. You know about it?
I don't know about lemon test. What is that?
Well, that's where a person, it was a trial, where it was Supreme Court determined that there were too many possibilities of things where it's very difficult to make a good judgment, a clear and clean judgment as to whether this law is breaking with the Constitution. It's unconstitutional. So they decided they were going to have a couple of tests. One of them was called the lemon test, where they have to meet certain requirements. And the lemon test discusses that in detail. It's based on a person who was against that particular law, and his name was Lemon, black guy. Last name.
Last name Lemon, of course.
Yes.
Of course. But what were the three prongs of the lemon test? That's all.
The three prongs of the lemon test is that you have to break down where an individual, where I'm not too sure, because I used to know it, but I haven't brought it.
So the first one is that the purpose has to be primarily secular.
Right, secular, it can't be religious. You can't have versus, I think the other was you can't have one exclusivity as far as religion is concerned on something where they're coming into a secular environment. It's a third one was what?
I think it's undue entanglement, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, the last one was where it's nebulous, where it's very fuzzy as far as the law is concerned. It's not specific, it's not detailed enough. In fact, most laws that are considered unconstitutional, whether it's religion or not, if it's a fuzzy type of law and it's not clear in this thing, it is considered unconstitutional because it has too many variances where you can think of too many things that can add to that have nothing to do with that. And you can't do that. It has to be clear in this way. Right. So it's a three-pronged test. In other words, if any one of them, not just all three, but any one is found unconstitutional, it cannot stand. That law cannot stand.
All right.
Okay?
All right. And I noticed you have the thing on the election here in your newsletter. Are you endorsing a candidate or?
No, we're not.
No.
We're a 501c3 nonprofit.
Oh, really?
If there be such a thing, we can't can't
Officially endorsed candidates
Cannot officially endorse candidates. Right.
candidate by name.
by name.
We can deal with any issue we want, but we can't endorse particular candidates by name.
Understood.
Well, we're trying to form a group together called 504. I'm sorry,
501c4, yeah.
501c4. Which basically is that you can collect money, you can get involved with a group to be able to go in front of government and lobby, etc. Things like that.
Interesting. All right. Okay. All right, gentlemen.
You asked about other things we did?
Excuse me?
Read your little green sheet. It talks about other things. Like one of the things we're trying to do is just represent the atheist community to
The open atheist community, yeah? And how big would you say the atheist community in New York is?
We're trying to counteract the social stigma attached to the term atheist.
Ah.
For example, we're good. We give blood. No, seriously.
That's a very funny way of putting it.
What we do as an organization, we do that because we take care of people who feel that need help.
Actually, the day
You know, we're not.
as a national holiday, instead of just sitting there talking to ourselves and praying, we're going out and actually doing something
things.
constructive, which is to donate blood.
Humanists in nature.
Understood. Understood.
It's hard to know within the city what fraction of the city is atheist, because I don't know of any good surveys.
Right.
But on a national level, something on the order of 2 to 3% of
Oh, yeah?
people are overtly atheist, and something on the order of 17 to 20% of the people don't embrace any religion.
Okay.
And whether you want to call those people atheist or not, but they are not theists in the
Well, they
sense
could
that they
be
don't
called
have an
agnostic.
official.
Well, they might be theists. They're not members of an organized religion.
Humanists, so on, you know.
Say it again?
They're spiritual.
There's a wide variety of non-religious personal philosophies, and there are other groups in this city.
But I noticed he used the adjective spiritual. Once you start calling yourself spiritual, aren't you kind of dipping into a little bit of a theistic realm there?
Yeah, that's not.
You're getting a little theistic.
Connotations to a conscious or
A little bit
subconscious
of irrationalism, all right.
to some people.
Wait, say that again? I'm sorry, what was that?
A little bit of irrationalism, all right.
Well, I wasn't making any judgments on whether it's rational or not. I was just curious if
What do you
it's...
think spiritual means?
Well, no, that's I associate it with something disembodied, something separate
Yeah.
from a
So-
materialistic worldview, and something quasi-theist in the way it sounds.
Well, I think it's spirits. I think of like ghosts and spooks and people that are dead that come back and walk the earth.
Deepak
Right?
Chopra.
Yeah, it seems most people I know who say they're spiritual, they believe in the supernatural in some respect or another.
Because it has so many connotations to it. As I just said, it could be those who believe as you're reincarnated and that will follow you and you come back at something new, that certain ingredient of whatever. And then others think of it more of a religious value, or some think of it just as a subconscious thought, and that what's in that mind when you sleep, and what you're thinking of what's in your mind is sort of like a spiritual thing. It's conscious. There's no actual atomic bodies or no actual molecules that are following around, but sort of a thought. So it has many interpretations, many definitions,
Undoubtedly.
many connotations.
How about you? How do you classify yourself?
Believe it or not, I'm en route to being a Roman Catholic, former atheist. I used to write for infidels.org. I only did a couple articles, but
You say former?
former atheist, yeah, as in was an atheist, now atheist.
We consider that a
An apostate?
Huh?
An apostate?
There's another word for it.
I'm listening. I'd love to hear it.
Seen the light.
Well, I wouldn't put it.
No.
I'm dying to hear it.
Seen the light.
I'll give you this.
No, it is considered what's the word I'm looking for?
All of it.
When you say one thing and you mean another, that's the dual meaning. What should we call that person? The type of thing?
Double-minded? One who engages in...
No. You'll get it. Give me the word, guys. Help me out on that.
I'm doing well. You want to do
Hey. I can't think of it right now. Give me a minute or two.
Take your time. No
I'm getting
rush.
a little older, you know. I'm
No,
sorry.
no problem. No
You're
problem.
recording this.
Yes, I am. I mean, I enjoy this. I rarely meet atheists, even when I
like that.
Remember, I had it out when I was getting your shirt.
Yeah. Hold the button. Don't hold the button too long. Just we think while people think.
All right, no problem. No
But when I
problem.
think of it, I'll say it again if you want me to. Okay?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So almost all the atheists I know are.
No, but I really did. I actually wrote a couple articles for
I'm going to get the word for you.
infidels.org, their Islam page. I did a couple of...
When
When did you become an atheist?
About 1999, 2000, and it lasted to about 2003, 2004. You know.
Why is that?
Were you raised as a Catholic?
No, my father's a Marxist. He's a stone cold atheist.
And what attracted you?
What took you off from that? That's what
Well, what took me away from theism is, I know a lot of people
what
have
took you away
from atheism. I mean, excuse me, from atheism was specifically William Lane Craig had a major effect on me.
Sorry?
William Lane Craig had a major effect on me.
William?
William Lane Craig. He's one of the leading.
Oh, that imposter.
That fraud, huh?
Yeah.
I bumped into some, actually, believe it or not, some Muslims of all things who were very much into the Kalaam Cosmological Argument, and they recommended his writings.
I'm sure
So I really grappled with that, and you know, yeah.
Unitarian Universalists will do very
That's
I can't even think of it now.
What's the Kalaam Cosmological Argument?
I'm sure you're familiar with it. The gist of it is that, I mean, the two prongs for me that really convinced me of it is first that you can't have an infinite regress. I was a philosophy major, so I believe that. So I believe that with regards to like a causal chain going backwards, it had to be finite. So there had to be a first cause. And me personally, I can't fathom the idea of a first cause, i.e. a cause which has no cause preceding it, not being a personal agent. And so for that reason, I was persuaded by Craig's argument that a first cause is personal rather than mechanical. And so once, you know, regardless of what other people think of those premises, once you accept them, you're sort of very close to a theistic position. You're basically, you know, a hop, skip, and a jump away from thinking that an intelligent being played a role in setting everything into motion.
Where do you get away again from
You're right at
atheists?
the top of the slippery slope when you're lying on your
Am I?
ass all the
Because
way down.
basically what you were saying as far as your religion is that with this first cause, it can't really be a first cause.
What do you mean?
Correct?
It can't really. No, that's not what I was saying.
That's fine. That's just we think the same way. It cannot be a first cause.
Wait, what can't be? That wasn't what I said.
I thought you said that.
No, I was saying that in a causal chain, because when I was learning philosophy, I learned that you can't have an infinite regress, so a causal chain has to be finite.
Well,
and so with a
that's it.
finite causal chain, there has to be a start.
It has to be finite.
Well, God is infinite.
Whatever that means. I don't know exactly what that means.
There cannot be a first cause.
Huh?
There cannot be a first cause.
There cannot be a first
There
cause?
cannot be a first cause.
Why is that?
Why is that? Because whatever the first one, what took it to make that?
Or it could have always...
Think about that. Okay? Think about that.
Say it again?
Why can't there be an infinite?
If there can be an infinite God, why can't there be?
Well, I mean, I don't know in what sense God is infinite. I mean, I know theists throw that around, but I don't know in what sense God is infinite. Like what exactly that means.
Right. Okay.
You made a big
no. Let's say that God is outside of time.
Okay.
God is outside of time and he's outside of space.
Right.
So as far as space and time are concerned, he's infinite.
Well, I don't know about that. I would certainly say that.
Yeah.
I would certainly say he's outside of time and space. I don't know if that translates into infinite somehow, but it would translate to timeless. I don't know if it translates to infinite.
Well, he doesn't have any measure. He's not in space. He's
Right.
not in time. So he doesn't have any measure.
Okay.
How would you define God as in existence then?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah, it is an
I mean,
interesting question. And it's the kind of nonsense that all of these theological arguments lead you into. There's absolutely no reason to believe that God created the universe. There's no reason to believe. There's no reason to believe that
No problem.
that this universe has not always existed in one form or another, and that it has existed. It didn't have a cause, and that it will go on existing forever.
I don't know. I have trouble with that precisely because of this issue of it would
Of what?
require an infinite causal chain. You know.
It wouldn't require any infinite causal change. It's just that the material world has existed and it always will exist, and that's it.
But so the thing is, but we're part of causal chains. You agree with that, right? Like you and I are part of causal chains. There are things that caused us to come into existence, and those things were themselves brought into existence. So we're part of a causal chain.
They weren't brought into existence. They have always existed, and they're being transformed from one form to another. The atoms in your body were at one time part of a star.
Right, but I don't think even physics doesn't say that the atoms that exist now existed forever. I mean, that's...
No. They didn't exist forever. They came into existence. They came into existence at the time of the Big Bang.
Or slightly after, yeah.
They were not in existence at the time of the Big Bang.
Right.
They came into existence,
Popped into existence.
millions of years,
Billions of years, yeah.
billions of years afterwards. And now you're here standing there talking to me.
Right.
Okay, but you can say that's a causal chain, but
But I mean, even I can say it is. Sorry.
And you can introduce a divine super being into it, but that's just an admission of your ignorance. That's just exactly the same thing as saying, well, we don't understand why the stars in the sky are moving around. It's God that's making the stars in the sky moving around. It's just another form of thing.
Well, I certainly wouldn't make a one-step leap from I don't know where this came from to therefore, God.
Making a one-step leap.
It's actually more than, there's a couple more steps involved. Let's go through. All right.
You are making a leap that can be conceptualized as a one-step leap. You are
Let's-
saying we don't have a complete explanation for everything, therefore God must exist.
Well, no, it's a little bit more complex than that. The way I see it is that, as I was saying, so I think we now agree that we're part of causal chains, correct?
We are.
We aren't?
Could I interrupt just a minute?
Yes.
Term, leaving religion. I'm sorry, leaving
Atheism for
and going
theism.
back? Oxymoron. Oxymoronic.
Why? Why oxymoron?
It's just that. To go from something that makes logic, cognitive sense, to something that's illogical. Oxymoron.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
Well, you think about that.
I'll certainly give it a thought.
Logic's illogical. Just doesn't make sense.
So I'm sorry, you were saying I didn't catch you. You were saying we're not part of a causal chain, or
We are part of causal chain, but that's because time exists. And time exists in our universe.
right? So far, so
You agree that time exists in our universe, and time is why we have a causal chain. Events precede each other and succeed each other in time. If we didn't have time, then we couldn't have a causal chain. If there were no time, then there could be no causal chain.
okay,
If time did not exist, then there could be no causal chain.
okay.
Prior to the Big Bang, there was no time. There can be no causal chain before the Big Bang.
Don't forget also that
Well, there can't be a chain prior to it, but there can be something that sets it into motion.
There can be no consequence of events. There can be no consequential series of events prior to the Big Bang.
Are you familiar with Brian Greene at all? Brian Greene, he has all
not
these.
only
He's
time
been.
did not exist, but matter did not exist.
He's what?
God.
Before the Big Bang,
the faith.
matter did not exist.
Get an answer.
So there is no
Because you can't get it with
causal
math
chain.
and matter
Right.
as we know it now.
Yes.
Right, as we know it. Okay.
That came
Leap of faith is
after
not
the
logic.
Big Bang.
It's
Not
Right.
causal
Fair enough. Okay. We're.
The causal chain and the arrow of time that you claim only came into existence with the Big Bang.
Right. So we're part of a causal chain that came into existence at the Big Bang.
So,
At the Big.
so we have a material existence,
Right.
and we have an explanation for it. We don't have a complete explanation,
Agreed.
but we have a pretty good explanation for why these things happen. And for this causal chain. And we understand that this causal chain is not something that's platonic.
Platonic. I'm not.
Plato.
No, I understand, but in what sense?
His idea was the forms
It isn't something that's ideal. It's an artifact of the physical reality that we are living in.
You're an atheist?
Okay.
Okay? So we can't say that there must be a first cause, or that there must be causes outside of the reality that we are living in. We can't say that this is a logical thing or a mathematical one.
You're saying it's not logical to believe in a cause for the Big Bang? Is that what you're getting at? Or?
What I'm saying is, it doesn't follow that there were time didn't exist before the Big Bang.
Right.
So therefore, you couldn't have a chain of causes before the Big Bang. That's purely a hypothetical speculation on your part.
Well, no, not only on my part, on the part of physicists as well. That's why I brought up Brian Greene, because he's pushing this theory that there might have been two interdimensional brains that had touched each other.
That's a physical theory, and
I'm saying it's not purely like on my behalf.
yes, but that's a physical theory, and that gives rise to certain effects in our own universe, such as an uneven distribution of matter in galaxies, and various other things. We can look at how these things react. We can look at inflation theory, but that is all, cosmology. That's all
Right.
physics, mathematics, and so forth. It doesn't touch on the existence of any supernatural.
Well,
being.
what I was gonna-
And if that is the case, then that's another cause, and you have to move beyond that again.
Well, what I was going to
So
say is
God
that.
is kind of receding further and further and further into the background.
Certainly.
You can always say, well, we don't have the answer.
Well, no,
to
no,
that, so therefore God. But that's just.
Well, this is what I was going to say. Not therefore God, but in a situation, so we at least agree that we're part of a causal chain. That is finite, correct.
In this universe.
And it's finite.
So we can't go from the causal chain to God. We can't
Well,
say that God
here's
is
the question. Can we go from the causal chain to a start for the causal chain, to a first cause?
Yes, we can, and it's called the Big Bang.
How you doing?
Is it? I mean, no, not really. That's see, the thing is, I just mentioned Brian Greene. So Brian Greene. So bear with me for a second. Brian Greene believes that the Big Bang was caused. Now, if he's correct,
Yes.
if he's correct, that means that the Big Bang is not the first cause. It's itself a part of the causal chain. Whatever. If the Big Bang is caused, it's not the first cause.
I never said that the Big Bang was a first cause.
No, you just said it now. You said you said the first cause is the
It's
Big
not
Bang.
the ultimate first cause. The Big Bang is the first cause of time and space and matter in our universe. Because
As we know it.
as we know it at this time, all of the times and space and matter that exist in our universe exist because of the Big Bang.
Agreed. So far, agreed. Yes.
Okay, so the Big Bang is the first cause of all the time, space, and matter in our universe. And if we want to go back along all of the causes, the cause of you being here talking to me, the cause of the atoms in your body being accumulated, the cause of the formation of those atoms and stars, the cause of the formation of those stars, we're eventually led back to the Big Bang.
Or possibly even beyond it.
No, we're led
What do you mean?
back.
No. Yes, Brian Greene said. I mean,
He hasn't said that.
he's absolutely said that it's. He speculated. So it's not. So at least within within the scientific realm, it's not impossible that there's a cause for the Big Bang. And if there's a cause for the Big Bang, then it doesn't stop with the Big Bang.
Then there's a cause of the Big Bang, but no time existed before the Big Bang. Time as we know it did not exist before the Big Bang.
Okay.
Okay, because time doesn't exist for these brains. These brains, these membranes, these M theories, have, as far as we are concerned, always existed. They may still exist. They may still be bringing other universes into existence, which may have different rules, different regulations, different, theories from, and these universes may only last for a microsecond. But, we just happen to be living in a universe that, is here.
Agreed.
And that's it.
So, but the point I was making.
Universe as we know it, yes.
So, as I was saying, so then we agree that we're part of a causal chain. The Big Bang is a cause within that chain, whether it's the first cause or not, right? It's not the. I mean, it's not necessarily the first cause in the chain. I mean, I think we can agree on that. It's not necessarily the first cause in the chain. So this is my point. So far we have established that. Now the thing is, if the causal chain is finite, then there has to be a first cause.
But it's not finite.
It's not finite. You're asserting that the causal chain we're part of is infinite. It was caused by something else. It was caused by something else.
I'm not asserting that. You keep confusing yourself.
It's not finite in any way that we know of.
I'm not sure what that means. What do you mean?
I mean, not finite in any way
Good
that
luck,
we
Ram.
know of.
We've driven
I
you
mean,
away.
It could be
we're not
finite
sorry.
in some other sense.
Say it again. I'm sorry. I got.
It could be finite in some other sense. But as far
What I mean by finite is that the number of causes in the chain are finite. That if we were able to tick them off, that the number of causes would be finite.
We have a Big Bang. That's one cause, right?
Right.
We can go all the way back, but we can go back to the creation of our universe, and we can say that that's one cause.
Right.
Okay? So that's one cause for everything that's happening in for everything that's happening in our universe. Okay, we can go on. There are a variety of theories as to what gave rise to the Big Bang,
Right.
and his theory is just one of those theories.
Agreed.
But we can go back before the Big Bang to brains.
Right, or whatever the cause may have been, if there was a cause.
But these things have not existed before the Big Bang. Because the time that we experience is just... time has no meaning.
You see, but honestly, look at this. I mean, when theists use this kind of language, you mock them. But now you're telling me that there's something A may have caused B, but A doesn't necessarily precede B. That's what you're telling me. Wouldn't that be a source of something subject to mockery if a theist said that? Like if someone tried to explain a biblical verse in those lines?
There is no scientific explanation for biblical verses. And
okay, so far so good.
Right. When someone claims that Joshua made the earth stand still, and that this actually happened,
right?
we know that the Earth is rotating around the Sun. We know that the Earth is spinning. It's inconceivable that he would have made the Earth stand still. And we can make that up. And we can make this observation. But you're entering into the realm of science, and you're claiming that scientific explanation and scientific speculations give rise and justify a belief in God.
Say it again?
That science.
Oh, no. What I'm saying is that science certainly agrees with the premises that I've laid down thus far, that we are part of a causal chain, and that the Big Bang is not necessarily the first cause in that chain. That science agrees with that. I'm not using science as my justification for it, but I'm saying it's certainly a bridge for common ground between us.
Is that a material, discoverable cosmos exists, and that material, discoverable cosmos has nothing. It's self-contained. It's self. It explains itself. It's understandable through physical laws.
What do you mean it explains itself? What do you mean?
You don't have to step outside of the cosmos and introduce a God figure to introduce, to explain why we are here, how it's developing, how things are unraveling. You don't have to bring in the divine. It's just things happen.
Well, I haven't said it. I haven't said the divine. Like I haven't said ergo a divine being, but what I've said
we
is...
are here, and that's it.
And we're part of a causal chain, and that chain may be finite, correct?
It is finite.
It is finite. So there's a first cause in the causal chain that we're a part of.
And the first cause of the causal chain that we are part of is the Big Bang.
No. Well, maybe. Not necessarily.
One of the major theories.
Not necessarily. I think we agreed on that. It may be, but if it is, then it begs the question, did the Big Bang just get up and start on its own, or did something cause it? So if something caused it, then it's not the first cause. I mean, this is a simple logical point.
There may have been other Big Bangs prior to the Big Bang.
So those would be previous causes in the chain. This is a simple point so far, right?
Previous chains that were created in sequence.
Okay. So we're part of a causal chain, and if there was a cause of the Big Bang is not the first cause, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
May not be.
May not be. Yeah, that's why I said if. If the Big Bang had a cause, it is not the first cause in this chain that we're a part of, correct? So, if the chain is finite, regardless of whether the Big Bang is... Now the chain isn't finite. I have you on tape saying the chain is finite, the chain is not finite.
Is a circle finite?
Yes, actually, to be honest, yes.
Okay, well, existence is the same thing as kind of like a circle. It's continually changing, it's continually growing, it's continually developing.
I don't think this is analogous. What I'm talking about is not analogous to a circle. Like we talked about things that may have caused you to come into existence, and things which may have caused those causes to come into existence. I don't think that you wind up at the beginning causing the beginning to start the whole chain again. I don't think it's like a circle. We're talking about something a little bit more linear.
Cycling.
No, I'm circle. He used the word circle. That's his word, not mine.
It is.
We say it's a cycle, it's a cyclic universe. We used to think that before dark energy came into being. Okay, that what would happen is that you would have a continuous flow. That eventually the galaxies would go to a certain speed, slow down enough where gravity, overall gravity, including